Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 15 of the SwineyBros podcast. My name is Toby,
And I'm Seth.
and we are the SwineyBros.
We welcome you to the Swiney Bros podcast.
So it's been a wild 2 weeks in the NFL. Broncos closed out a miraculous win against the Buffalo Bills. Hearts have been broken, dreams have been shattered, coaches have been fired, and lots of things have happened around the NFL, including things still happening as we speak. Coaches are being searched for, coaches have been hired, and some teams are still trying to win a Super Bowl. So, breaking news, as always, the bread and butter.
All right, we'll start with breaking news before we get into the coaching news because there's not as much breaking news alongside of the coaching news. Let's see here. All right, some player issues here. Green Bay Packers released their cornerback Trayvon Diggs. Really surprised to see Trayvon Diggs get released, but they let him go. The Packers left tackle Rasheed Walker was arrested Friday morning at LaGuardia Airport in New York after he tried to check in a bag that contained a firearm. This one, we've all been wondering. General Manager John Lynch for the San Francisco 49ers says that wide receiver Brandon Ayuk has played his last snap for the 49ers and will not return to the San Francisco 49ers.
No surprise.
Joe Mixon's status for next season remains uncertain after the Houston Texans running back missed all season with what general manager called a freak foot injury Wednesday. So nobody really knows about Joe Mixon. They're still up in the air. Very crazy to think about. You missed a whole season and you don't know if he's going to come back or not. This was tragic to me. Very tragic. Seahawks running back Zach Charbonnet suffered a season-ending knee injury that requires surgery. Seahawks head coach Mike McDonald called it a significant knee injury. Unfortunately, it breaks your heart. He's going to need surgery, so he's got a long road to come back.
Oh.
That's terrible, especially in a championship game. And here's another one. Broncos quarterback Bo Nix suffered a season injury, broken bone in his ankle during their overtime victory against the Buffalo Bills. So sad, so sad. Two tier athletes in their prime, season-ending injuries, just right there at the end of the season.
Rough.
The Colts say that the FBI has launched a probe into the death of their former owner, Jim Irsay. The Indianapolis Colts have acknowledged the existence of a current ongoing FBI investigation into the death of their former owner, Jim Irsay, and the potential involvement of a California doctor who reportedly prescribed him pain pills and ketamine. Interesting. We will definitely be keeping tabs on that. And then before we get into the coaching news, my last item of business is kind of like a fun fact / news. This year will be the 15th straight year with either the New England Patriots or the Kansas City Chiefs playing in the AFC Championship game. So that's all the non-coaching breaking news that I have for this week.
Word. Well, seems like we can never escape criminal activity, no matter how many times we go. Did not know anything about that, so you learn something every day. Yikes. Well, in terms of the other side of breaking news, more so just lots of news covering. This is the largest, before the hirings, of course, amount of teams in the NFL since 2022 that had head coaching vacancies. It was up to 10 before all the people were hired recently. So, of course, we all know Kevin Stefanski found his home at the Atlanta Falcons. Not a big surprise there. Knew he was going to go somewhere. Thought he might have potentially was going to the Ravens for a little bit there, but did not. John Harbaugh, of course, went to the New York Giants. We thought that was going to be his resting place. No surprise there. The Tennessee Titans hired
Robert Saleh.
Honestly, was not expecting that at all. So I found that out literally this morning. I was a little behind on that, but a good pickup. He's definitely defensive-minded head coach for sure. He did a lot of great things with San Francisco's defense this year.
Hopefully he does better with the Titans than he did with the Jets.
That's the big question mark that I think everyone's having. And, of course, Miami Dolphins hired Green Bay's defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley. I don't know a whole lot really about him, but he seems to be pretty highly respected around the NFL. He seems to be a pretty highly touted, sought-after coach, so could be good on that side of things. And of course, a few more interviews. The Ravens hired the Chargers defensive coordinator. Let's see.
Jesse Minter.
Jesse Minter.
And here's the interesting thing about all these coaching hires. Jesse Minter, Kevin Stefanski, John Harbaugh, Robert Saleh, Jeff Hafley, all got a 5-year contract. Every single one of them. 5 years.
Wow. He is only the 4th head coach in the franchise history of the Baltimore Ravens. Fun little tidbit. Thank you, ESPN, for that. So on the other side of things, we still have a few notable teams that do not have head coaches right now. Probably the most prominent being the Buffalo Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Buffalo Bills did say, Sean McDermott, you're packing your bags. You're getting out of here. Very, very questionable decision, I think, for a lot of people. And if you watch the interview of the Buffalo Bills GM discussing the decision to do it, it didn't really leave you with a lot of confidence behind the decision. So, on the other side, they've interviewed a few notable people, including Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers as a potential head coach, and, of course, Brian Dable. Is Phillip Rivers a legitimate head coach option?
I mean, he knows the game. He's played for a long time, and he's definitely a quarterback, so I think he has something to bring to the table as far as, helping the offense goes. I don't know what he brings to the table defensively. Would he be my number one choice? Not for me, personally, no. I just don't understand the letting go of Sean McDermott. To quote Chris Collinsworth, now here's a guy that was in Buffalo for 9 seasons. During his 9 seasons, he took the Bills to their first AFC Championship game appearance since 1993.
Gee.
He also led the Buffalo Bills to 8 playoff appearances out of 9 seasons.
Wow.
5 consecutive division titles and 2 AFC Championship appearances. However, he was left unsuccessful in the postseason and was unable to reach the Super Bowl. But the dude's been consistent for 8 out of 9 years. He's been the best coach that they've had since the early 90s with Coach Marv.
Well, and too, the NFL has a bad habit of being a coaching carousel where you just kind of throw coaches around everywhere. They go here, they go there, you get fired, then you go to this team. But if they had like a legitimate, this is a clear replacement, it makes more sense. But I mean, when you're going back to Brian Daboll, who was a good offensive coordinator, who did some incredible things with Josh Allen. As a head coach, he did not perform very well in New York. Phillip Rivers, I mean, sure. I mean, he could end up being a fantastic head coach. I mean, it's pretty cool to see former quarterbacks become head coaches. It's just kind of weird that no one knew anything about a potential head coach, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, Phillip Rivers. Hey, by the way, you want to come coach the Bills after you just came out of it? I don't know. It's just a little weird. Doesn't mean that either of those guys are getting hired. Of course, they haven't picked a name yet. And of course, still we have the Arizona Cardinals, who are without a head coach right now, the Las Vegas Raiders, the Cleveland Browns, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's been a few names tossed around here and there. The Steelers interviewed Mike McCarthy, of all people. It's just a really weird time where it feels like really good teams are letting go of coaches when they don't need to. So if you're the Raiders or the Cleveland Browns, it makes a little more sense. But the Bills, the Steelers, the Ravens, it's just kind of, I don't know. Sometimes you don't know what happens behind the scenes, but apparently a lot happened behind the scenes because every good team is just flipping their head coaches around. So, I don't know.
And then, Mike McDaniel also got hired as, he didn't get a head coaching job hire, but he was hired as the Chargers offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
To the best of my knowledge, the only 2 people three people that's been fired that hasn't gotten jobs is Pete Carroll, Jonathan Gannon, and Raheem Morris. Those are the only 3 people that I know of that's been fired that has not got a job yet.
I mean, I could realistically see most of those. Well, except Pete Carroll, he's probably retiring.
I agree with his age.
But
Much respect, but it's time to hang.
But Raheem Morris, Jonathan Gannon could go be coordinator
Jonathan
somewhere
Gannon's
else.
had interviews. He's trying to take Halfley's spot, I think, in
Yeah.
Green Bay really hard.
I think that's smart. Those guys are good coordinators, and I don't think just because they had a bad stint as head coach doesn't mean that they can't still perform. I mean, look at Robert Saleh. But not saying he won't do good things at Tennessee or anything like that, but I don't know. It's a weird time in the NFL.
Agreed, because I mean, I would have never fired Raheem Morris.
But we don't get paid to make those decisions, so at the end of the day, they do. It's their team. They decide it. Ownership, general managers, the whole 9 yards. There's a million different variables that goes into this things, and half the time we only see the finished product and we don't see anything else. So it's hard to say. But either way, well, ladies and gentlemen, NFL playoffs are still happening. And of course, recently we have determined the championships for both conferences. The Denver Broncos are taking on the New England Patriots at Mile High Stadium, and the Seattle Seahawks will be hosting the Los Angeles Rams. All 4 of these teams, in my opinion, are Super Bowl contenders, and I was fully expecting all 4 of these teams to be where they are right now. So kudos to us. Kudos to Seth for calling the early, very, very early AFC Championship game prediction. With on that note, you've got Jarret Stidham replacing Bo Nix. It's Stidham we trust. Jump right into it. Denver Broncos and the New England Patriots. Who you got?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels show. You've heard me say it all year. I'm going to continue saying it. However, after watching the Bills and the Broncos game and how just defensive elite the Broncos were, I do think that the Broncos are going to give the Patriots a run for their money. This is a defensive, well-oiled machine, especially with Bonita and Hufanga. They were wearing it out. Now, had Bo Nix not got hurt and he was still in, I would have a little bit more confidence in the Broncos. But with the absence of J.K. Dobbins might be coming back. I'm not sure. They opened up the practice window for him.
He's practiced, but
But, with Bo Nix being out and him being out, and then you're putting your hopes in Jarret Stidham, I don't know. I got to go with Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels with the New England Patriots.
See, the thing that really stinks, and not enough people give Bo Nix enough credit, Bo Nix dropped better stats this season than Josh Allen. And he consistently was dropping incredible stats for a second-year quarterback. And a lot of people failed to recognize the stat lines and the whole, the defense carried them all year, blah, 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 whatever. We dropped 33 points on the Bills. We manhandled the Cowboys. We beat the Pack. I mean, we dropped 20-plus points against really good teams. And a lot of people failed to recognize what Bo Nix did this year. And so losing him without a doubt, is brutal. I mean,
and
it's
just
brutal.
to shed some light on the situation, Bo Nix had 3,931 passing yards. He was averaging 231.2 a game. He threw for 25 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, a completion rating of 63.4. And his attempts over completions was 388 out of 612, with a quarterback rating of 58.4.
And not to mention that he is the only quarterback in NFL history in his first two seasons to have 20-plus wins. So, again, I'm not discrediting anybody or saying that, the defense didn't carry us sometimes, because absolutely they did. But losing Bo Nix is really tough.
He also had 356 rushing yards on 83 carries and 5 rushing touchdowns.
Pretty solid for a second-year NFL quarterback. With knowing that, I'm just gonna place this game on the wonderful hands of Nick Foles. I don't know if you guys have seen this tweet going around, but Nick Foles tweeted something about the Patriots don't do that well against backup quarterbacks, especially in situations involving the Super Bowl hopes. And a lot of people got really salty over that and was like, oh, Jarret Stidham's not Nick Foles. He hasn't took a snap in 2 years. Listen, the importance and the incredible importance of a backup quarterback in the NFL cannot be understated. It's not like Jarret Stidham is walking in here with a 3-14 NFL team. He's got no talent around him. This dude can absolutely get carried, and he's not going to need much to get carried. You've got the Broncos defense, the electrifying defense, who is outpacing everyone in the NFL in sacks, outpacing in pressures. I mean, Nick Bonito is literally a Defensive Player of the Year nomination when he was a nobody last year. You don't have to do much. You just have to be solid. He's a backup quarterback. He had a few chances. I mean, New England was eyeing him as a backup quarterback, and the Broncos ended up signing his extension. And Sean Payton, of all people, knows how to work with a quarterback. And so if they can establish a run game, especially with J.K. Dobbins, if J.K. Dobbins has an important role in this game and actually plays, I think the Broncos win it. I really do. I don't think Jarret Stidham has to do much. He just has to be solid and let the defense carry. So in Mile High, the atmosphere, it's going to be rocking. J.K. Dobbins gets in there and we can establish the run game. And Jarret Stidham is not a bad quarterback by no means. I've seen a lot of bad backup quarterbacks. And I don't think he's really he's really solidified himself as a good, solid backup quarterback. And there's no shame in that. Backup quarterbacks have done some incredible things. And if you look at some of his highlight reels and some of his clips, the dude can throw the ball. And he can throw the ball in some intense situations. He may go out there and throw 5 interceptions for all I know, but I've got faith in him. I think he's going to do great. So give me the Broncos or the Patriots.
Was it any surprise that we're seeing the Rams and the Seahawks both against each other for the NFC Championship?
None.
I know we've talked about it several times and how we talked about this division and was the most competitive division in the NFC. And here we go. We got both of them duking it out for each other for the NFC Championship in Seattle.
Crazy.
Of all places, of both teams. I don't think you could have asked for a better matchup for the NFC Championship than the LA Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. However, I'm very sad to see that Zach Charbonnet is not going to be in this game.
That's
because
rough.
he has a lot to bring to the table, and him and Kenneth Walker complement each other very well alongside Sam Darnold, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. You know, this is a well-oiled machine and a fantastic, well-oiled defense.
Mm-hmm.
We got one of the top defenses in the NFL right here for the NFC against arguably one of the best offenses in the NFC with Matthew Stafford, Kyron Williams, the great Puka Nacua, Tutu Atwell, the thicker kicker. This is going to be a matchup of the ages right here. Really is. So who you got between the Rams and the Seahawks?
Well, I don't know if you guys remember, throughout the whole entire NFL season, I've been saying that the Rams were Super Bowl contenders and that I could easily see them in the Super Bowl, as well as I could easily see the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. This one is probably going to go down as the toughest pick all season long for, I think, most people. And historically speaking, when a very, very good offense plays a very, very good defense, is typically the very, very good defense that comes out on top. You're talking a elite, stout Seattle defense at home. That place is electric. I mean, that stadium, dude. Oh man, the noise itself is crazy. But you know who's really good against noise? Matthew Stafford, the veteran quarterback. I mean, he marched into Chicago in -degree weather. The loudest Chicago's ever been, it felt like, and escaped a miraculous, magical Caleb Williams heave that is one of the top players I've ever seen in the NFL, and they still won. I think if he doesn't get held back by his coaching staff, I think Matthew Stafford's going to go in. I think Matthew Stafford's going to have another Super Bowl appearance. Give me the Rams over the Seahawks.
You know, as much as I want to say Seahawks, and as much as I'm pulling for the Seahawks, I just, against this Rams team, I don't think that they can do it. I also have to go with the Rams. And here's why, okay? This Seahawks team, I mean, they've played phenomenal all season. They've really showed themselves as an NFL contender. And I really expect this momentum to roll over and carry over into next season. Sam Darnold has really evolved as a quarterback.
He
And
has.
he's really showed
Yeah.
that he belongs in this league. Jackson Smith and Jigba has
Incredible.
shown that he's a top elite wide receiver. Kenneth Walker has done better than everybody had anticipated this year, coming off the injury. Zach Charbonnet has done well. However, he's going to have a rough road of recovery, and it's probably going to be a slow go for him next season. They've already proven with their 2 tight ends that, you know, they can use them if they need to and they get into a bind. And their defense has been awesome. But Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay. I'm going to see if I can find this. I had this on my phone earlier and I lost it. Sean McVay. I had some little interesting little playoff stats about Sean McVay.
Word.
It was very crazy. But, you know, this team is playing like there's no question. Every time they get out on the field, they know what they're going to do. There's no confusion. It's not like, oh, what are we going to do? We're scrambling. No. Everything is well executed. And they just look so hot. So hot.
Well, just a couple stats while Seth's scrolling, just to keep in mind, too, about this Rams team. The Rams currently are ranked best in the NFL by totaling 394.6 yards per game. They also rank 6th in points allowed and are tied for 2nd in sacks in the league. They have faced some difficulties in their secondary, which has arguably been their weakest point. Watch the Chicago game again. You'll see what I'm talking about. But they have a deadly pass rush, and I think those defensive numbers, you can't shadow them, even though the Seattle's defense is definitely better than the Rams' defense. Their pass rush has been very good, and they've kept people off the board. I mean, they kept the Bears off the board last week, so we can't overlook that the Rams do have a solid defensive unit. They're not the best in the league, and they're not on Denver and Seattle's level or Houston's level, but they're a good defense. And having a good defense with a best offense in the NFL is still a good combination.
Also, while I'm looking, shout out to Sean McVay. Happy birthday, Sean McVay. The infamous NFC West coach turns 40 today.
Wow. Only 40. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I wish I had his job. I don't know where I saw that. I thought I screenshot. I don't know. I can't find it, but he had some really insane playoff stats. I mean, it was incredible.
I mean, currently, since 2017, Sean McVay has achieved 10 playoff wins, which is the same number that the Rams has had in the previous 37 years combined, which made him one of the youngest coaches to reach that milestone. Includes a Super Bowl victory in 2021 and a Super Bowl appearance in 2018. So the dude's definitely good
Very qualified.
in playoffs, without a doubt. I mean, 37 years previously, and your new coach gets all of that in his 9-year tenure. That's pretty crazy, especially considering he started out at the Rams at 31. Pretty young head coach to.
All right, so you heard it here. Toby's Super Bowl prediction is the Denver Broncos and the LA Rams. Seth's Super Bowl prediction is the New England Patriots and the Rams. Interesting. Never in my life did I think that this season that we would have seen Ben Johnson and his mighty, as Facebook called it on NFL Fox for the touchdown, the cardiac bears, when Caleb Williams got that bomb pass to, it was either Loveland or Kmet there before he got sacked.
Right then.
I would never thought that the Bears would have had the success that they had this season. That was, you know, if that guy doesn't get Coach of the Year, then, you know, something's
wrong. Yeah.
Like, he took one of the worst teams. But I mean, just looking back at the season, the Bears. I mean, the Lions and the Bears flip-flop.
Yeah.
Just big time, you know.
It's got to be Ben Johnson or Mike Vrabel for Coach of the Year, surely.
Yeah, for
Surely.
real. The Patriots are back on top again. Took one season with Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels.
Right back at it.
Denver Broncos, Sean Payton. You know, it's nice and refreshing as an NFL fan to see different teams coming back up. And, you know, I'll say it. I don't care. I hate the Chiefs. I love Andy Reid, and I have a lot of respect for Andy Reid. I've always liked Andy Reid as a coach for years, even when he was in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And you look at the people that studied under him back in that time period and where they are today and where they have went from that Eagles coaching staff. Love Andy Reid. I always respect him. I'd love to see him in Buffalo. But I hate the Chiefs.
Imagine.
It's nice to see the Broncos up here. It's nice to see the Seahawks up here. It's nice to see the Bears up here. It's nice to see some other teams, you know, rocking the NFL instead of the same old. Nice for a change.
Well, we won't touch for it too long. I just thought this would be a cool question to ask since, you know, obviously I don't put a lot of credit on awards, and, you know, some people get voted to stuff that they didn't deserve, blah, blah, blah. The MVP, I'll just mention the MVP. You can mention a couple others if you like, has 5 finalists. And in my opinion, there's only 2 clear people for the MVP, and that should be determined. Out of those 5 people, in your opinion, not the NFL fandom, not the NFL fans, whatever, in your opinion, out of those 5 finalists, who should win the MVP?
Well, this is probably going to be unpopular. I get tired of seeing quarterbacks being MVPs. I know that a quarterback is a very big role and it's a very important job, but there's so many other important positions.
Yep.
You know, I mean, it would tickle me to death to see a defensive player in here for MVP or an offensive lineman in here for MVP, but there's so many more people. You've got 4 quarterbacks and 1 running back in the running. I'm really sad to not see that Jonathan Taylor's name is not listed in here. But, you know, to me, X Josh Allen out of that conversation. He's a Bills fan. Yes, I am. But no, not this year. Trevor Lawrence, no.
I couldn't believe he was in the runnings.
I would put him more as like a comeback player.
Yeah.
Not MVP. Which he is in the finalists for comeback player of the year, but I wouldn't put him in the MVP.
I couldn't believe he was named in the MVP
Trevor
race.
Lawrence, no.
That blew my mind.
Drake May, I agree with. Christian McCaffrey, I agree with. Matthew Stafford, I agree with. But if I was going to have to go somebody just based on performance and experience, I'd have to go with Drake May.
Drake May, the young gunslinger. I was not expecting that. In my eyes, it was 2 clear people for MVP, and it was either Christian McCaffrey or Matthew Stafford. And I had to go with Christian McCaffrey. Now, I'm just going to read this off to you. I mean, me and Seth dogged on Christian McCaffrey at the beginning of this year. Dogged. I mean, you can go watch the clip back. It's sad. Worst take ever. But this year's stats, okay, from a running back who has been plagued by injury, who took a very decimated, injured San Francisco team and put them on their back. I mean, if you took a single player this year that put his team on his back, dude, just look at this. 311 carries for 1,202 yards, 10 rushing touchdowns. But no, it's like, oh, wow, that's insane rushing stats. Hold on. 102 catches, 129 targets through the air, 924 receiving yards with an average of 9.1 yards per catch and 7 receiving touchdowns as a running back. This dude accounted for over 2,000 total yards for his team, 17 touchdowns. I mean, it's insane. And he only had 2 turnovers the whole entire season. If I had to pick a clear most valuable player, it had to be Christian McCaffrey, dude. If they didn't have Christian McCaffrey, they would have lost half their games. I fully believe that with everything in me. This dude carried, and he carried hard. But I would also be totally valid with Matthew Stafford winning because I think he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL this year with Drake May. I would go McCaffrey, Stafford, Drake May. But anyways, that was fun. Thought we could go over it because I've been seeing a lot of discussion around the league about the MVP finalists.
Well, for comeback player of the year, absolutely, I would say Christian McCaffrey.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
He should win that. I would like to see him win both of them, but you know, without a doubt. And I think Trevor Lawrence is like. I'm not saying Trevor Lawrence is a bad quarterback. I just didn't think he was an MVP quarterback this season. The Cardiac Bears. That's funny. I was thinking about that. And after all of this, to answer the other question, where would I rank Caleb Williams after this season? I would put him at like number 7.
Yeah, I would leave it the way we had him.
The way Caleb Williams plays football, and I don't want to make any Bears fans upset. The way he plays football, you live by it or you die by it. And I think sometimes he's insane and he makes these crazy throws, and then it's kind of similar to Josh Allen. And then he just has this really like.
He's still young though.
Well, yeah,
he still has a lot of development.
So, and I like that play style. I think it's entertaining, and I love watching that.
If
you're throwing it no matter what.
Ben Johnson stays with the Bears, I think you're really going to see Caleb Williams develop even more.
Dynasty quarterback.
Like this year, he has went from I didn't want to draft him in fantasy football, that I would draft him in fantasy football next year.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. So those were all of our predictions, wild takes, and et cetera, et cetera. So let's jump into, I suppose, NFL trivia.
Everybody's favorite part of the show.
The one that pulls the most numbers and the most amount of comments. You want to go first?
Sure. All right. It's playoff time. It's conference championship time. So, of course, it's going to be a conference championship question.
Word.
Okay. My NFL trivia for this 15th episode of the SwineyBros podcast is, which NFL team has the most conference championship appearances? Not wins, but which NFL team has the most NFL conference championship appearances?
It would have to be the Patriots, right?
I'm sorry, that is incorrect.
No!
The Patriots are number 1, 2. They're third on the list. So that was a good answer. The number 1 answer, the NFL team that has the most NFL conference championship appearances, would be the San Francisco 49ers with 19 in conference championship appearances. Followed secondly by the Pittsburgh Steelers with 16 conference championship appearances. Followed thirdly with the New England Patriots with 15. And then pulling up the rear is the Dallas Cowboys with 14. Very good question. Very good. Then that was a solid answer. You got one of the top 3 teams. So kudos.
Yeah, I thought the Patriots, and then I thought the Steelers, and I was like, probably the Patriots, but the 49ers I thought was lower than that. So no surprise. I mean, the 49ers have a great franchise history of winning. Good question. So you'll probably know this one. Who was the first player in NFL history to throw for 4,000 yards in one season?
4,000 yards.
It's not. Don't overthink it, because he's like, yeah. When you think of quarterbacks and you think of like, who was like one of the first really good quarterbacks?
There's so many though, like so many. First to throw for 4,000 yards in a season. So many people that comes to my mind. Like I could probably give you like 5 off the top of my head that I think it could be. Cue the Jeopardy theme song.
Oh, there goes the camera.
Technical difficulty.
Time out for station identification.
Dang it, Sadie. Sorry about that, everyone. My dog likes to be a pain. Any other day, she would be asleep taking a nap at this time because we're doing the podcast. She's all excited.
It wouldn't be the SwineyBros podcast without the Sadie Show. So.
Okay, I'm sorry. My answer is going to be, I'm going to have to go with the great TB12, Tom Brady.
That is incorrect. Because it was all the way back in 1967.
67? Was it Bart Starr?
Joe Namath. Broadway Joe threw for 4,007 yards despite throwing more interceptions than touchdowns, 28-26. The following year, he led the New York Jets to an unlikely win in Super Bowl III. prevailing over Johnny Unitas and the Baltimore Colts, 16 to
Johnny
7.
Unitas, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
He was named Super Bowl MVP for his performance, and it showed the world that the AFL was worth taking seriously.
Dude, yeah. I can't wait to hear the backlash that I didn't know that.
Gosh dang it. Now for NFL fun facts. I thought about using this as my trivia question. I was like, this is way too hard. There's no way. How many wide receivers were selected before Terrell Owens in the 1996 draft? It was 11 wide receivers. They were the number 1 overall pick, Keyshawn Johnson of the New York Jets. Number 7,
I remember Keyshawn.
Terry Glenn of New England. 18 was Eddie Kinnison, drafted by St. Louis. 19 was the legendary Marvin Harrison, drafted by Indianapolis. Number 24 was Eric Moulds, drafted by Buffalo. 31st was Alex Van Dyke, drafted by the Jets again. 34 was Amani Toomer by the Giants. 41 was Brian Steele by the Chargers. 43 was Mushin Muhammad by Carolina. 52 was Bobby Ingram by the Bears. And 56, Derek Mays of Green Bay.
You're getting into my football card collection now.
So fun little fact. I did not know that.
I never really was a big T.O. fan. Didn't like him. He was too much of a crybaby.
A lot of people didn't. Can't argue he was talented.
The best thing since sliced bread.
Very, very egotistical player.
So was Keyshawn Johnson too, but
I
didn't like him either. But
he was the number 1 overall pick, so there's a little bit of cockiness, I guess, when you're selected number 1 overall. Well, that rounds about NFL trivia and NFL fun facts, coaches news, playoff predictions, the whole 9 yards, Super Bowl predictions, everything. Since we said who would be in the Super Bowl, let's just go ahead. Who is your Super Bowl winner?
Oh no, I can't pick that. Not till I watch these games.
What do you mean you can't pick?
No, I got to see how these people perform.
You already picked who was going to the Super Bowl. You might as well pick who wins.
No,
I
can't.
Oh man. All right. Well, I guess we'll have to save that for the next episode. Either way, I thought we could throw it in there. Any last comments, discussions, topics you want to go over before?
I'll try. I say it all the time. Let us know who you think's going to win these championship games. I got a new phone. So if you've noticed, I haven't been posting a lot of stuff on Instagram. It's because I haven't got everything installed yet on my new phone and updated and logged into everything. So I will try to put a poll up on Instagram and also on the Facebook page. But, I want to know who you guys think the majority is going to be. Was it going to be New England or Denver? Or is it going to be LA or Seattle? And also, I told him I'd like to give a shout out to my faithful friend, coworker, and longtime viewer of every episode, Mr. Dave Thomas. Thank you for your support and all of your views. It really, really makes me feel good that, you watch every episode. So thank you, Mr. Thomas, for your continued support.
Without a doubt. This was a shorter end of the episode, but, it's when you have 4 teams left in the NFL. Not as much to go over, but either way, as always, thank you so much for the love and support. All of our shorts in the last week and a half have been over 1,000 views, 1,400 views, 1,600 views, 1,800 views. We've gotten like 5 new subscribers. Most of you that watch our videos are not subscribed, so if you are listening to this at this very moment and you're on the toilet watching us, take a moment. Just click that little subscribe button. It's free. Definitely free. I promise you it doesn't charge anything. You don't even have to turn notifications on.
Yeah, you don't have to hit the bell.
You can hit the bell, obviously, for new uploads. We upload shorts pretty consistently. It's about every other day, depending on how much stuff we have to clip. I still have stuff from the last episode that is scheduled to come out. I just haven't got those clips fully edited yet. But as always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, disputes, arguments, hate comments, throw them all down there. It doesn't matter. It boosts the algorithm either way. So truthfully, you can argue as much as you want to. You can ask us a question. You can tell us you don't like anything we say and that you hate our takes. That's totally fine too. You're all entitled to your opinion because guess what? It's the internet. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next time for episode 16 of the podcast. We'll catch you later.